Hi everyone, it's me, Carbundance. Welcome back to a What I Eat video from 1 year ago and 1 week ago. Don't forget the live stream that is on today on this channel at 6 p.m. CET. Yes. Period. This live stream just lives off of your questions. Please make sure you are there live to support it, so David and I know that you guys would like us to continue doing a live stream. It just really lives off of the people joining live, so if you can in any way, we would be really glad if you could join us live. So this was breakfast 1 year ago. It's the usual water, high volume dish, oatmeal dish. With this time it's not chocolate, but I was challenging nuts as a topping. To be honest, I mean, we can all see it could have been much more. It could have been much more generous, the toppings, but it's better than nothing. And this is what I want to show you in this year. Yes, it was not the whole opposite. It was not pissing my eating disorder off in the hugest sense possible, but it was pissing it off in some way, and that was a step forward. But I also had to come to the point where I was really doing the complete opposite, not only half of the opposite. So I am experimenting in these videos with me responding to comments that I get from you guys and just connecting it to. This is a quite new one that I got under last week's live stream, and so there are a lot of other comments that I got even earlier, and I will get to most of them as much as possible in the coming videos, so thumbs up for that if you enjoy that. I think these meals that you see on the screen, we have seen them quite a few times already, so I don't have to say anything special about it, but it's still important for you guys to see what I ate here, even though it is repetitive, because that also says something about where I was in recovery, right? Namely, I was in quasi recovery, not really in real recovery. It's just I was eating the same things over and over and over again, and truth was I was just hungry AF, and I just didn't dare to not eat the safe foods because I had so much respect, and to be frank, I was so afraid of just the extreme hunger, the mental hunger, which was all about all of the fear foods and processed foods. So let's see where we are here. Okay, so Elizabeth von Hinken, it's on my German channel. She said, "Hey Miri, what is this migration theory that you're talking about?" So I was talking about the migration theory in my live stream, I was mentioning it. So I will shortly go into that. So this was a snack that I had. You can see the consistency in a sack. It is kind of like milk, like rice pudding. I was just craving rice pudding, but I think I made it with oats, which I also like to do now because it's just much faster, but I know that I did not really add milk, or if so, then very little, very minimal. But what I loved about this was like the skin kind of on top, and it was hot inside, but still, it's very, very healthy-fied, very, very whole foodie-fied. And yeah, I should have just bought a store-bought milk rice pudding, to really do the complete opposite. This was dinner, nothing very new. I did get the calories in, but they were weighed and, measured out, and just not freedom in general. And I still continue to challenge the fats, and just, continue to challenge myself on a daily basis. but could not do without, adding tons of vegetables and stuff. So the question is, what is this migration theory that you're talking about? So this was actually the screenshots that I took after that meal, like of bread and like very, very, very dense stuff. That is what I was actually craving, which is why I included these screenshots that I made. That was a sign of mental hunger, actually, that I was even taking these screenshots. It's like you're thinking of food. That's a sign of it. This was a breakfast 1 week ago. The milky, frothy coffee and the very, very, very dense oatmeal. So the migration theory basically is it's coined by Tabitha Farrar and also Shane Geisinger as a psychologist and many others as well. By the way, these were pretzels from the weekend and also butter, because pretzel is 100 times better with butter. And margarine, just like completely taste-wise, does not do the job. Like, for me personally. But you can also do like almond butter or any kind of nut butter, but I was just really craving this, and in recovery I really enjoy being able to do this. It was one of my childhood favorite foods. So the migration theory is basically stating that all animals in nature have kind of survival mechanisms, and the migration theory coins one of them, which is the fact that there are animals and humans who have the genes for anorexia, and in humans and animals who have these genes, an energy deficit activates the anorexia. And in nature, when we're not in civilization, this results in us having, like when there's a famine, this results in us having to migrate, and we get the need, that the desire, the instinct to migrate, to move, which is where the desire to move, the need to move, the urge to move comes from in people with anorexia. It also happens with animals, by the way, when they are just taken away food, like when they are in an energy deficit without them, making a conscious decision. It's something that just happens with them. They start to move, they run around, they even reject the food that they are given once they are in a big enough energy deficit for the genes to be activated. And so it is a very physical theory behind anorexia, very biological, which all of the conventional approaches, they actually are very psychological, like from a very different perspective. And this is the first theory that when I practiced the things that are necessary to reverse the anorexia, to reverse the energy deficit, it was the first thing that actually helped with me rewiring fears and with me noticing a difference in my mental state after 18 years of being anorexic. Be it, in the beginning it was typical anorexia, then 17 years long, me being normal weight, quote unquote, it was atypical anorexia, but there's basically no difference in the mental state. And so in nature, humans and animals, when they are in a region, in an area, in an environment where food is plenty again, once they have migrated, they actually, they have a feast. And then famine is over and the energy is kind of reversed and they are kind of recovered from anorexia again. That doesn't usually happen, or not easily happen, in our society where these beauty ideals are, the beauty standards are so messed up, and where dieting is just kind of glorified. And you kind of become afraid of eating a lot. And you feel like you're even binge eating and overeating once when you have this natural extreme hunger, mental hunger to reverse the energy deficit. You kind of looked at something like he or she is overeating and doesn't have the control over themselves anymore. And it's like, it's so hard for anyone to kind of go extreme, but at the same time, it's not extreme. It's the most natural, most adequate thing to do after a famine. And so we kind of live, there is no real kind of, like most of the times, the usual dieting thing. And the reason why anorexia is turned on in this society is most of the time not because there's a real famine, but because eating little is glorified, and someone can unconsciously, unintentionally just run into an energy deficit. And then for those who have the genes, anorexia is turned on, and then it is very hard to get out of it because it's deemed as so almost disgusting or something unnormal to do, or to eat a lot. And that's the problem. And that's why the food first approach, I just want to make it known so much by also translating Tabitha Farrar's book, so more people can recover from anorexia, for those who this migration theory applies to, which is a lot, I think. Bye.